Is the Sensor Gambino here with a new video. In this video I'm going to be doing my reaction video, whatever, to the November 30th, 2023 Rockstar Newswire detailing the Winter 2023 DLC that is going to be coming into Grand Theft Auto Online. So starting off in this very first image here, I believe this is definitely just another image of that Grotti Turismo Omaggio that they previously revealed in one of the event week newswires, where they showed a Rockstar Games 25th anniversary livery thing, if I recall. So they're basically just showing another image of it. This time they're showing the front of the vehicle, whereas the other one was the side of the vehicle. And then it also just looks like a police scene here, and then I think it looks like there's the Duggins over here, and the Duggins do pretty much run the casino, so that would make a lot of sense here. Alright, so new GTA Online update coming for this December here. A familiar face from Liberty City returns. More on that obviously later on. Along with drift races. So those that really enjoy drifting, this is definitely pretty nice. Animals. Not for every system, but I'll be getting to that. Festive surprises. And then much more. And again, newswire dates from November 30th, 2023. Alright, so going into this paragraph here, there's going to be a brand new business, it seems. So this would be one of the couple latest sets of businesses. They've been kind of going back to the business side of things, I feel, ever since the Acid Lab with the Drug War DLC. I guess you could also kind of consider the business when it comes to the auto shop. There's the kind of legitimate business with the auto shop. There's a thing where you're modifying the vehicles basically and delivering them over to other characters. There's also the illegitimate business as well. So I mean more a legit business perhaps. Then again, this one is the illicit business, so more along the lines of the Acid Lab, yeah, more so. Definitely seems. And it will also feature vehicle robberies, so there's going to be robberies that are centered around vehicles. So it definitely sounds like it's going to be somewhat vastly different to the robberies that are currently in the game with the Los Santos Tuners and the auto shop. Definitely sounds like it's going to be quite vastly different from that. Drift races will allow for select vehicles that have custom-made slide turns, so that's going to be some of those modifications, it seems, for the drifting kind of vehicles. New vehicles, obviously your typical update, and more. It's also going to be exciting surprises for the holidays. The 25th anniversary for Rockstar Games is also coming up as well, so for the December DLC, they will have to be celebrating that. Along with certain other exciting celebrations they've already mentioned on other news wires and whatnot. One very big one especially. But yeah, there's going to be in-game apparel, clothing items for that kind of thing. And much more to celebrate that momentous occasion, or momentous occasion, whatever the fuck pronunciation all there, for the 25th anniversary of Rockstar Games. And then animals will be coming into the game for the online component finally, but only for the 9th generation systems. Makes a lot of sense, obviously. That's going to be a lot more resources added to the game. Made a lot of sense back on the 7th gen, why that was never a thing. 8th gen as well wasn't Apparently 8th generation consoles were not really the biggest step up from the 7th gen consoles in certain ways even, so yeah. Definitely makes sense it's only going to be a thing for the 9th generation consoles. Now, like per usual, they've still not released a newer version of the game to PC, even though they announced I think they would do that. They never even did ever do that, I'm pretty sure. So PC's not going to have animals pretty much unless it's like someone that gets modded into the game or something. So that's going to be tight as fuck, having animals into the online. Definitely going to make the world a lot more lively. I think it would have had a lot more of a bigger impact if they managed something like that at the beginning of the release of the game. I think it would have been something that made a lot more sense at the way beginning, but better late than never for the 9th gen version of the game in particular, of course, I mean. And there's going to be even more improvements for the latest consoles. That'll be one over later on. Alright, now going into image number 2 here. You can actually see a couple instances of the animals that'll be appearing for the 9th generation version of the game, with a couple of dogs over here, a couple of doggos over there. Might even be a couple like birds up here. Obviously your usual kind of suspects and probably your like usual kind of locations, like in the single player, that the single player has pretty much always had for any of the generation of systems. And there's a couple of your like characters and whatnot. Some of the styling on the characters here could possibly be a hint towards that Liberty City character that will be coming up that I will be mentioning. Probably the most interesting thing to me though in this image here probably has to do with the like tow truck here. For one, actually, I kind of just thought about this right on the spot literally right this second here. This tow truck to me looks like a clean version actually. Whereas I think the one currently in the game is only like a rusty version with like a small and like a large size, I believe. So I think a clean version of that would be brand spanking new for the game entirely. It's also pretty interesting because the tow truck has actually never appeared properly much in Grand Theft Auto Online. Like I think there's like modded like crater jobs and stuff like that maybe that can use the tow truck, but it's not properly available in GTA Online. Now I think a huge reason for why it's not in GTA Online is something to do with like towing vehicles. Like I think you might be able to tow like multiple like tow trucks, obviously, with it being like an online thing if tow trucks were made available in the game like that. So I'm going to assume that the tow truck will have some restrictions and stuff in comparison to the single player, where the single player you can obviously use it like per usual, like you would be able to in like real life. So I imagine there's going to probably be some restrictions to the tow truck like they've done with certain previous content editions that's not been in the game for years. Like, for example, the railgun, when that finally made it into the game with the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC. That had nerfs in comparison to the single player, obviously, with the like huge lack of the railgun. I know that one obviously appeared in like a bunker source mission, like adversary modes, but I mean like the general free mode as of like the Drug Wars DLC. Even before that, there's the example of the stun gun that was not really previously available in the game. So that's where maybe like a Diamond Casino heist approach or something, but then was finally added to the free mode of the game with like the contract DLC, and that had significant nerfs of like the cooldown and stuff like that. So I'm gonna kind of assume they maybe find a way to like do some nerfs over to the, like the tow truck or something. Maybe you can use it during certain missions or something. Like, it's probably not going to be allowed to be fully used, I'm going to guess. There's probably a reason it's been gone for years upon years. Like I've said, like with other things like content for like the actual free mode of the game. So yeah, clean version of the tow truck, it's pretty interesting. The tow truck here was definitely what I found the most interesting for image number 2. Stealing season is coming soon here. Some of the like contents of like the illicit business side of things it sounds like you'll be doing here will be stealing of cars, and then stripping, and then the selling of the most in-demand vehicles. And then you'll take it on with a familiar face from Liberty City. Real estate developer Yusuf Amir. Hell fucking yes. I definitely wanted to see Yusuf Amir for a long fucking time in Grand Theft Auto Online. At least ever since the After Hours DLC released, where I was pretty bummed out that he did not appear with, like, Tony Prince when he made his appearance again with the After Hours DLC. Especially since, like, mid-2018, I've been wanting to see Yusuf Amir, especially for the last few years. But yes, rather than being involved with, like, the building of, like, the Mile High Club, whatever that huge, like, construction site building is that people really want to see get rebuilt, even though I never saw it as realistic in the first place. Seems he's doing all this illicit, like, vehicle stuff here with the business from the second image, of course. But Yusuf Amir is definitely my favorite character for sure when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 4, the Ballad of Tony. Not counting the protagonist, of course, Luis Lopez, whatever the hell. Like, if I'm not counting the protagonist is pretty cool. He's definitely my favorite supporting character, more so is what I mean when it comes to Yusuf Amir. Fucking, he had all that fucking gold shit. He had the gold-plated buzzard. He had that, like, super diamond. He had the super drop diamond, even, I think it was called, which is like a convertible, like, super diamond. I really fucking hope the convertible super diamond makes its way into this update, by the way. Currently, I'm pretty sure the super diamond is only, like, a roofed version in the game currently. I think it would make a ton of sense to have his personal, like, super drop diamond be a thing. And there's already, like, the Windsor drop, I think, from, like, Finance Felony 2, so that's a vehicle recommendation that I highly recommend that Rockstar adds in this update. If not, that's going to be a very fucking missed opportunity, I guarantee it. Shit, he also had, like, the gold, like, submachine gun and shit like that. That's pretty fucking cool. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care to see the gold submachine gun after getting a brand new submachine gun in the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC. That's like the new best drop-by weapon. I mean, shit, I wouldn't mind another new SMG, but still. I think that would be a bit overkill given the last DLC had a new SMG. Or hell, maybe they had a couple new weapons, but unfortunately I'll be kind of mentioning more on that later on at the end or whatever. But man, Yusuf Amir could definitely bring quite some sick content additions, like guarantee you know. Easily my favorite supporting character, Ballad of Tony, Grand Theft Auto 4, the Ballad of Tony DLC. But of course, with his usual stylings and stuff, he still lusts after the finer things in life. Seems to now be a lot more into the luxury import vehicles. Also gets help from his cousin Jamal. Now, I honestly do not remember much if Jamal has made much of an appearance in Grand Theft Auto 4 The Ballad of Tony, or if he's only been, like, mentioned much. I'm not sure if he's actually had much of an appearance, to be honest. Been a while since I've played Grand Theft Auto 4 The Ballad of Tony, like the story or anything like that. So if somebody wants to, like, bring up in the comments or something if Jamal has actually previously appeared in the game, feel free to let me know or anything. I wouldn't doubt, obviously, but I wouldn't necessarily, like, be surprised either if it's just been a character that's been, like, mentioned in, like, dialogue in that game. For Grand Theft Auto 4 The Ballad of Tony, of course. But anyways, with the help of his cousin Jamal, you'll be charged with planning and executing intricate, high-stakes robberies under the cover of Red's Auto Parts, which was a sign up here, obviously, from the second image. So that is perhaps more significant than it would appear. Now, I'm honestly not sure if the sign here has existed before on this building. I'm not sure about that. I could very much see that being a new sign. I could definitely very much see that being a new sign for sure. But But anyways, you'll be charged with planning and executing intricate, high-stake robberies under the cover of Red Auto Parts again, yes. Which is that new purchasable Salvage Yard, where you're doing the illicit Salvage Yard business. As per usual, you call the shots. And then you'll sell the best of the best to Yusuf. So the best of the best to Yusuf or salvage. You could even salvage your boosted vehicles for parts, apparently. Choice in the cash is yours. Pretty interested to know like how exactly they'll go about the vehicle parts. They've never done like a vehicle business so far where you have like actual vehicle parts as well. So that's definitely going to be pretty interesting. And then image number 3 here. Honestly, I think it's really just mainly showing off like the drifting, like the side, like the slide turn thing or whatever they mentioned earlier in the newswire. Now to me, this first vehicle here just seems to be the Jester RR that was previously released with the Los Santos Tuners DLC. To me, the front looks very much the same from the Jester RR that's currently in the game. I use that one a lot in like Robbery Contracts, so like I think I would personally know that's personally the Jester RR. I think this one's a Karen vehicle, if I remember zooming into it before. I'm not going to do that in the video here, but I think I've zoomed into it like off video before, and I think it was a Karen. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another tuner that's already been in the game previously. I don't know if it's like the Karen like Postlude or something like that, which was like one of those 2 tuners that was out of like the Criminal Enterprises DLC, the quote-unquote tuners. They said they released 2 new tuners really, but you couldn't even like use them in like the Robbery Contracts and the like Street Races Pursuit races. So hopefully, since they're doing stuff with the tuners again, it seems, hopefully they correct that dumb mistake they made with the Karen Postlude, like the Dinka Kanjo SJ, I think was the other one from the Criminal Enterprises DLC. Because those ones are fucking trash compared to like the Karen Previan, that was also like a coupe tuner from like the Los Santos like Tuners DLC. So since they are going to be doing more of the tuners update, hopefully they allow those Criminal Enterprise DLC tuners to actually be used in the tuners content. That would be nice. And about this one in the middle, I'm honestly not too sure about this one. This one doesn't really come up to mind or anything. I wouldn't be surprised if this one's one that's already in the game, similar to the Jester RR here. But I could also see this maybe being a new tuner. I could even see them doing new tuners, like they do a lot of like Diamante Tech vehicles pretty often. They do Amani Tech vehicles pretty often, and they already expanded the tuners technically with the Criminal Enterprises DLC, and I guess you could kind of count the Contract DLC as well with like the Comet S2 Cabrio, but that one's pretty damn crazy performance for the sport class. So I think that's why that one doesn't count for this like tuner subclass for the Comet S2 Cabrio, whatever all. Just to talk some history about some of these two, I guess, in a sense. And what I feel they could do better if that is indeed the postlude here or whatever. But again, I could at least see the one in the middle being a new one. I'm not sure about the one on the right. I think that might be the postlude though. I'm not sure on that. Yeah, nothing too much I feel aside for like the slide turns, modification thing, whatever from earlier in the newswire. And yeah, beneath that is drift races here. That's pretty much showing off that mechanic, certainly. Great racing fans get a silk new way to win with G-Donuts and drifting modifications for stock vehicles for race series. So yeah, there's going to be brand new sets of drifting modifications for select vehicles. Quite frankly, I felt with like them adding the low grip tires to like all the vehicles, I thought that was the most they were going to do for drifting. I didn't expect them to go all kinds of crazy here though when it comes to like the drifting community, like supporting the drifting community with like all these crazy new modifications and stuff like that. So for those in like the drifting community and stuff like that, it's probably drifting there's probably drifting communities out there, certainly, and it's definitely going to be probably a very exciting update there for sure. But it will be for select vehicles. Now, ones that come into mind here, I think there's like the Drift Tampa, obviously, from like, what was it, like hunting stunts and stuff like that, like the Drift Yosemite. Obvious vehicles of like the Drift in the name, whatever, with like Drift Tampa, Drift Yosemite. It would be disappointing if they didn't like add those ones to the list. Hopefully it's not just restricted to like new vehicles entirely. The way they word it with select vehicles does give me hope that they do revisit passive vehicles though, and it does actually give me hope for that though for sure, which is quite nice. Which is definitely going to be quite nice for sure, if that is indeed the case. And like they have currently with the like street races and pursuit races, it looks like there's going to be a whole brand new series of races with drift races. And like with the street race pursuit races, I'm going to expect there's going to be at least 7 of them, I'm going to guess. That's how much they usually do for a series. They usually do 7 for a series, at least with like adversary modes, usually. Kind of same with the street pursuit races, that's as mentioned. And then, yeah, obviously you can test skills at getting sideways in a series of new circuits. While visit to the LS car meet will offer select vehicles the option of adding a drift tuning modification that brings joy of drifting to free mode. So, to me, it sounds like you're going to have some exclusive modifications for the vehicles, kind of like how the HSW vehicles work right now, where you have to go to like House Special Works and stuff like that. You have to go to the LS car meet for like the House Special Work vehicles for those crazy cool speed modifications. It's probably something like that. And like, there's HSW parts as well sometimes, like HSW spoilers, like other sort of like HSW parts as well. So that's probably more exclusive LS car meet like modification things, again, like they've done already with HSW. I'm kind of thinking that's pretty much all I want to say there. So actually, there was one more thing here. I'm going to kind of assume that drift races will be able to provide you with LS car meet rep. Hopefully they do give you the option to get the LS car meet rep for the drift races as well. I see no way they don't have the ability to get the tuners rep for the drift races. They already did add new ways to get the tuners rep with like the contract DLC. I think they added it for like the Robbery Contracts and stuff, which did not originally have the ability to have the tuners reputation. So they clearly showed they have the capabilities of adding that stuff later on, just like stuff later on, whatever. So I could very much see the drift races being another new race type to be able to get the tuners rep if you want like a fresh new way of getting it. If you are tired of the old ways of getting the tuner rep. I imagine it's not going to be one of the better ways to get tuners rep. If they do, it'll probably still be the Robbery Contracts will probably still be one of the better ways of getting the tuners rep though, by the way, if they do end up doing that though. So I think that's truly everything I wanted to mention. I think that's definitely truly everything I did want to mention there for sure on that paragraph. And then this image here, I'm trying to remember honestly if this vehicle was in the game or not. To me, this one kind of looks like a 4-door to me. It'd be pretty interesting to have another new like 4-door like tuner vehicle in the game. I believe currently the only 4-door tuner in the game is the Tailgater S whatever. So if this is another new like 4-door possible new tuner vehicle, if the drift vehicles count as like tuner vehicles or something as well, like in addition to like drifting vehicles, whatever. Would be cool to have like a second tuner vehicle or something like that for a 4-door. Could maybe make another interesting twist for like 4-player robbery contracts and stuff. Again, it might not even be like a tuner vehicle, who knows. I don't feel this one's in the game right now, personally. I'm not the most certain on it, but I don't think it is. Certainly going to show like some new vehicles, hopefully, aside for the Turismo Omaggio that they've already shown off, hopefully. As for the motorcycle here, I can't exactly remember if this motorcycle is like a new one or if it's in the game right now. I'm kind of leaning towards it being a Hawktail Drag. To me, the Hawktail Drag gives a vibe of being like a drift motorcycle. Yeah, to me, the word drag gives a vibe of it being like a drifting kind of motorcycle or something, so I could very much see that being the Hawktail Drag that's in the game right now. Having an HSW and a drift vehicle combined, if the HSW Hawktail Drag, whatever, would have that opportunity to get drifting things, would be tight as shit, I bet, too. So I hope the Hawktail Drag does get drifting shit, that would be tight. Drag has to mean drift, kinda, right? Shit, I don't know. Honestly. And then additional features and improvements here, as they continue to take further advantage of the 9th generation hardware for the PS5 and the Xbox Series systems for Xbox Series S and X, for Xbox Series S and X, yes. Summer's update will add exciting new features for the 9th gen systems here. As they already mentioned, there's going to be the wildlife. There's going to be a brand new Plus member subscription benefit. Unfortunate that's going to be limited to the 9th gen like subscription only and not for every player for 9th gen, kind of, but still. There's going to be access to the Vinewood Club Garage, which is going to be a brand new vehicle storage facility with the capacity to hold 100 vehicles. God fucking damn. If you thought the Eclipse Blvd garage from the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC with the 50 was crazy, or even the 60 with the 3/4 of 20 with like the office garages, whatever that they added with the import and export DLC, they had like 324 garages for like 60 vehicles in total. This shit blows both of those out of the fucking water. Almost combines those amounts of like 60 and 50 minus 10 with the 100. That's fucking insane. First vehicle storage in the game to hit 3-digit numbers. God fucking damn. Now my main question is if you just have to pay to get access to it, like what happens if you store vehicles there and you no longer pay the subscription? Are you going to be locked out of your vehicles that you store there unless you buy the subscription again? Or can you still use vehicles you store there even if you don't like pay the subscription eventually, but you have to pay the subscription to add vehicles to the storage? Who knows? I am definitely curious about that one for sure. 9th gen players will also be able to organize and manage vehicle collections more conveniently via the interaction menu, moving them between garages with ease. So you no longer will have to take your vehicles outside from one garage to the other. It sounds like you don't just be able to move them between garages through the interaction menu, but it's only going to be a thing for the 9th generation systems. Maybe some like technical limitation prevents it from being implemented for the 8th generation consoles, for the PS4, Xbox One. Maybe it's a technical limitation kind of thing for why it wouldn't be on those systems, I want to kind of guess. And then players across all platforms will receive a host of new experience improvements, so this will be for 8th generation and 9th generation. This will be for both the 8th generation and the 9th generation systems here. Seems there will be a new streamlined interaction menu for easier navigation, so it seems they'll make updates to the interaction menu. Maybe kind of similar to like what they did with like register as like a boss. For example, they did register as a boss, I think maybe with the latest update, San Andreas Mercenaries, where they combined the CO and then they combined the MC and then they turned it into one menu option where you get the option to choose either through like one menu option instead of it taking like 2 slots on the interaction menu. Stuff like that, perhaps, maybe more of that. Increased LS car meet reputation points for competing in pursuit and street races, apparently. Okay, so they're gonna buff the amount for the pursuit and street races. I'm going to assume if they do the drift races for the LS car meet reputation, it's probably going to have those same amounts that they'll do for the pursuit and the street races of the next DLC. So I assume all those race types would be pretty much equal for the car meet rep, I'm going to guess. If they do the drift races for car meet reputation, so those will get a buff. Again, I'll still assume that it's just going to be better to do the robbery contracts for the tuners rep. And even then, you get a lot more money for the opportunities for the robbery contracts over like the pursuit and street races. So like money-wise, it would be better anyways. So I still see the robbery contracts still being better anyways, even after the change. Sounds like the specification service will be making its way over to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. So that's where you can get copies of other players' personal vehicles. That will be making its way over to the 8th generation systems and PC. Especially good if they keep vehicles vaulted on the vehicle websites. When they vaulted like 100 to fucking 200-ish like vehicles, they vaulted those with San Andreas Mercenaries on like the websites. They cleaned up the vehicle websites by removing the vehicles there. So if they keep planning to do that shit, then at least there's this option now for the 8th gen systems as well on PC. Hopefully they reverse that stupid decision, but still. Custom description tags for each floor of the Eclipse Blvd garage. Okay, so they're kind of just adding more to the interfaces of the Eclipse Blvd garage when it comes to like the phone when you call vehicles from the mechanic. I think last update, San Andreas Mercenaries, they added the ability to like call vehicles for like the separate floors, and it wasn't like all 50 vehicles on like one, and it was not like all 50 vehicles on like one page or whatever. So the description tag thing they had with San Andreas Mercenaries, I guess you could not do it for each floor, and it was only for like Eclipse Blvd in general, or you couldn't do it for Eclipse Blvd at all. I don't know. Console voice chat will now default to off. Console voice chat will now default to off indeed. Kind of a random change after like over 10 years of the game. I think at this point people are used to people doing all the different like cuss words and stuff on like the in-game chat and all the crazy obnoxious stuff people do in the game chat. There's already ways to turn it off for the systems. I don't know why the fuck they're defaulting it to off in game now, but whatever. And then there's apparently going to be a small birthday gift for all players on their character's birthday. So apparently there's going to be a birthday gift thing. Who knows? I mean, it's just something simple like who knows? Maybe it's just something simple like full snacks and full armor. I'm kind of leaning towards something small like full snacks and full armor. I'm not sure if it's going to be anything super major or anything. It does say small birthday gift after all. And then finally, last but not least, more to come here. In addition to the new vehicle robberies, new vehicles, new racing series, there's going to be even more for the holiday season and beyond. There's going to be new music. Now I wonder if Yusuf Amir coming back, if it's going to be new music from like Grand Theft Auto 4 to Ballad Tony or something like that. That would be tight as fuck if there's going to be like a returning radio station. Not gonna lie. I think it would be pretty cool if they actually did like a returning radio station from that game. Like for example, there was like LSUR for example for like the After Hours DLC. While it wasn't like a returning radio station, it was like the Los Santos version of like SFUR for example for like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So who knows? Maybe it'll kind of do a little like spin, like a twist of like a radio station that previously featured in like Grand Theft Auto 4 to Baltic Tony. Like it would be cool to kind of see something similar to like some of my favorite ones from Baltic Tony were like Electroshock and then like San Juan Sounds, I think, were a couple of my favorite like radio stations from that game. I think it would be cool to see something similar to Electroshock or San Juan Sounds, whatever. So I want to see a radio station kind of similar to that, kind of. I don't know. I'm not the most sure if there's ones like that currently, but still. All new holiday modes. I assume the all new holiday modes would be something similar to like the Halloween like death matches they did like a couple months ago. So maybe like Christmas themed death matches, something like that. Additional experience improvements. Hopefully that doesn't mean like further nerf things at all like they did with the Caprico heist. They nerfed that shit on the fucking 10-year. Hopefully it's not like how they nerfed the Caprico heist on the fucking 10-year anniversary of Grand Theft Auto Online. For fuck's sake, something like that would be fucking bullshit. They better not sneak a stupid fucking nerf in the game. That would be bullshit as fuck. Updates to the creator tools. So it seems there will be even more updates to that, like they did for the previous DLC with San Andreas Mercenaries. Will be previous once this, of course, releases. Other festive surprises and more, and that's pretty much it here. So yes, that is finally going to be it for this video here. Sorry this one's like over 30 minutes long and stuff, but yeah, my throat's been kind of more of a bitch and shit, and then not gonna lie, I was super fucking hyped about Yusuf Amir and shit. And actually, one more thing. I want to share a little idea about a career progression reward that they could do for like a vehicle reward. That would be pretty cool. Since we're getting a fucking tow truck, it would be cool if we get it like a functional like Skylift. It's like a 9th gen like career progression reward. Would be a cool 9th gen exclusive like vehicle thing having like would be a pretty cool 9th generation exclusive like vehicle having like an actual functional Skylift. That would be pretty cool. It's not like the Skylift is much more crazy or anything than the cargo bomb that's currently used for import-export right now. Given Yusuf Amir had that really cool Grand Theft Auto 4 Baltic Tony mission where you had to like use the sky crane, like the Skylift sky crane, whatever, to pick up like the train or whatever. It'd be a pretty cool homage to that if like the career progression, if there was like a new reward for career progression, like it was a tier 4 like vehicle and it was like a functional Skylift. So that's another vehicle recommendation for me personally. That would make a lot of sense with Yusuf Amir, in addition to like the super drop, like diamond, whatever, like a convertible version of the super drop diamond, super diamond, whatever the fuck, from like day 1 2013 of Grand Theft Auto 5. Currently that's in the game. That originated from the Baltic Tony, Grand Theft Auto 4 Baltic Tony. But yes. Sorry this one's almost like 40 minutes long, but it was extra hype, I feel, with the Yusuf Amir being revealed to be a character. Yusuf Amir is definitely easily my favorite supporting character for Grand Theft Auto 4 Baltic Tony. So I think that's finally going to be it for sure, though, for this video, though. Hope you enjoyed.